In this video, I'll be doing a few things related to calculating summary statistics, including a 5-number summary, and constructing some box plots. So you should be familiar with this data. We saw this last week. It is a hospital comparison data where we have 40 individuals, and these individuals rated the hospital that they were in. And we have two hospitals. Hospital A, we have 20 patients who rated Hospital A, and we have 20 patients who rated Hospital B. And when we constructed histograms last week, we saw that there was some differences in the distributions of the ratings. Hospital A seemed to have higher scores. So what I want to do is to use StatCrunch to calculate a box plot. Now we saw this very briefly in the previous week. So we'll go up to Graph. We're going to just click on Box Plot, and we're going to construct a box plot of the rating scores. I'm not going to do anything by grouping quite yet. We'll get to that in a second. A few things I do want to check. I'm going to use fences to identify outliers. We're going to see outliers when we get to week 4. So I'll click on that for now. And I'm also going to click on draw boxes horizontally, and that's just out of preference. If you want to have them vertically, that is fine. I tend to do them horizontally. I am going to skip the title for now, but you should always have a title. You know that. So I'll hit compute, and here we have the box plot. So what we have here in the box plot is we have right in the center is the box, right? We have a a vertical line here, and in the middle we have the median marked, and then on the right hand side we have the third quartile. So the box is actually made up of the first, edge of the box is the first quartile, the center of the box here, the line is the median, and then the third quartile is the right edge of the box. We also have on the very end is our maximum value, and on the very left here is our minimum value. And you notice as I'm going over this, if you just highlight your cursor over, it actually gives you everything, kind of like a summary, right? So it gives you the number of values. There were 40. The IQR is called the interquartile range. That's actually the difference between the third and the first quartile. So there's 22, a difference of 22 between Q1 and Q3. We have our minimum value, our first quartile, median value, third quartile, and upper limit. So that's all there. Now some things we can actually tell from a box and whisker plot. Since the box is made up of all the values from the first quartile to the third quartile, the box actually has 50% of the data inside of it. So 50% of the data is found within this box. So we see here that we have 50% of the values are between 58.5 and 80.5 if you hover over that. So it gives you an idea of how kind of clumped together where most values are. The edges give you an idea, so the whiskers, if you will, give you an idea of where the other 25% each of the data lies. So 25% of the data lies from the minimum value all the way up to the first quartile, and 25% of the values lie from the third quartile to the maximum value. Now we also don't have any outliers. Again, we'll see that when we get to week 4. So this is just a very quick summary, and this might be a review of the elements of a box plot. If you wanted to construct the 5-number summary or calculate summary statistics and then construct the box plot, we can do that, and we saw this week. Go to Summary Stats. We want to go to Columns. We want to construct the summary statistics for the rating column, and we're going to group by the hospital. So what this is going to do is find all of our summary statistics for the rating column, and it's going to break that into Hospital A and Hospital B. So if I hit compute, I get all of my summary statistics. So for Hospital A, I know the number of values, the mean, variance, standard deviation. We'll talk about the standard error later in the course. And then we are given some other values that we saw this week. So median, we saw range. We have the other 4 elements of our 5-number summary. So that's a way to split the data. Finally, what I want to do is to construct side-by-side box plots. So I'm going to go to Graph and Box Plot, just like I did. And this is very similar to when we constructed histograms and drew them side by side. I'm going to look in the rating column and I want to group by the hospital. Always, this group by feature is one of the most important features actually in this course. So you definitely want to rely on that. I'm going to use fences to identify outliers. I'm going to draw them horizontally. And then just like we saw with the histograms, at the very bottom line, here, very bottom, I want to have 2 rows per page. I'm going to have the same X and Y axis. And what that's going to do, it's going to put both of my box plot next to each other, so hospital A and B next to each other, and they're going to have the same X and Y axis. And here we go. So we have hospital B is up top here, and hospital A is down below. What this allows us to do now is to compare these distributions. So just like we saw, we talked about measures of center, we talked about measures of variation. A box plot incorporates both of these. What do I mean by that? It gives us an idea of where 50% of the values lie, right, within the box. So 50% of the values for hospital B of the ratings lie within, if we look at quartile 1 for hospital B, 55 to 67.5. For hospital A, 50% of the values are between 75.5 and 85.5. So we have an idea of where most of the values occur, kind of that measure of center. And also the whiskers, the ends, give us an idea of variation. What is the variation among the ratings for hospital A and B? Okay, so this, just to quickly go over things, we see how to construct a box plot with StatCrunch. We looked at some of the summary statistics, we grouped by the hospital, and then we put kind of all that together where we grouped hospital A's ratings and hospital B's ratings. We grouped them into their own hospital, and now we're able to compare the visual of those rating scores.